Wow, this is going to be an update to WWE TLC 2017's full show preview. This show really got rocked here in the last 24 hours. Monday Night Raw has had a spread of sickness with the announcer JoJo as well as performers. Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas have been missing for the show for the past week. There have been rumors that other people on the roster had been sick. But it seems that this sickness has spread to the main event, and Roman Reigns is going to miss the main event of the TLC 2017. No longer will we be having the Shield main event the show, with Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns reuniting to take on Team Miz, with Braun Strowman, The Bar, and Kane. We're going to now be getting a returning Kurt Angle to WWE. As well as now a new match added to the show. We now have, I guess you can say, the Battle of the Bullet Club. We have Finn Balor wrestling against AJ Styles from SmackDown. This was probably the only way to save the show. I'm not going to say this is going to save the show either, because the main event to me honestly sounds really stupid with Angle joining the team, and then at the same time, Angle is the guy that made this a handicap match, adding Braun Strowman as well as Kane to the team, sort of now hurting himself in the long run. With him being the GM of Raw, is he going to be able to add people to his team to sort of even out the odds? I mean, this isn't the Survivor Series, but find some way to make it a 5-on-5, if there's anybody out there to help them out. It's going to be fun to see, being a TLC match, how they use the gimmicks in order to improve on the match. To me, the Battle of the Bullet Club really saves a match that I really did not want to see, with the Demon wrestling against Sister Abigail. I think that the match is now just billed as Finn Balor wrestling against AJ Styles. With being a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling and being a fan of the Bullet Club, this is the first time these guys are going to meet, as well as I think this is the first time these guys are going to be close to being at the same place at the same time with the brand split. This is the first time that this could happen. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be a really, really good match. I'm not going to go as far to say that this is going to save the show. I already had big-time questions and marks about it, but at least now there's two matches on this show that I consider must-see television. It's just going to be, what the rest of the stuff is going to be. So we'll see if this saves the show or not on Sunday. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here tonight as we're sitting here talking about the upcoming WWE TLC show, which is very heavily built around the return of The Shield. The Shield broke up shortly after WrestleMania 30, and after 3 years, WWE is breaking them out of the chest just in time for this, I guess you can say, lull of fall that WWE normally falls into. TLC was moved out of the December spot now into the month of October, right in time for Halloween. No time better than now to bring back the Shield, because honestly, when I look at the rest of the Monday Night Raw pay-per-view, there's nothing really jumping off the page. Them bringing back the Shield right now with Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins coming back, this is the best time to do this, because although, Mickie James chasing, tying Trish Stratus as, the #1 women's champion in WWE, going up Alexa Bliss, I can honestly tell you that nothing is really jumping off of the page here. The whole thing that's going down with Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt makes no sense to me. This is something that honestly I know is going to be future WrestleCrap over there with R.D. Reynolds at WrestleCrap.com. I don't understand it at all. Finn Balor is one of my favorite wrestlers there is in the world today. I've said many times that Finn Balor is one of the reasons why I stick around being a wrestling fan. And they're giving us this. The Cruiserweight Championship, Kalisto versus Enzo Amore, possibly going to be a good match. Asuka is making her debut coming from NXT. She left undefeated in NXT. She ran the gauntlet from WrestleMania 32 all the way until now. No, she was there before WrestleMania 32. That just happened to be when she got her title shot. I honestly can't remember when she really debuted with NXT. But you've also got some other 205 Live guys going. Cedric and Rich Swann going up against Gallagher and Kendrick. Your pre-show has Sasha Banks against Alicia Fox, a return match from Monday Night Raw. So, I mean, there's nothing really huge going down on the show. If it wasn't for the Shield, I can honestly tell you that this is easily a pay-per-view that I at least know that I would miss. Maybe even you would skip as well. No time better than now to talk about Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. Alicia, one of my favorite girls on the main roster. Sasha Banks falling into the kickoff spot yet once again. Sasha easily one of, I didn't even think about it till now, one of the best girls on the roster, but just falls into that kickoff spot yet once again. This is going to be, it is what it is, pay-per-view. I know that I'm going to be sitting down, I'm going to be watching it come 5 o'clock on Sunday, so we'll see what time brings, but I'm not looking for a blockbuster. I'm just looking for a good main event. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with the first match from WWE TLC 2017, which is the kickoff between Sasha Banks and Alicia Fox. I almost just went over this in the preview video for the full show preview, but decided that there was a little bit of a backstory, that this might have deserved its own video. We're going to be getting Sasha Banks going against Alicia Fox. Sasha, on National Boss Day, beat Alicia Fox on Monday Night Raw, and after the match was over, Alicia Fox thought that she deserved a little bit more respect and attacked Sasha Banks in the back. The roster for this TLC pay-per-view honestly looks like it's a little bit thin. For them to have to dip and do Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks, I don't really understand what the point of this match is. On one hand, we have my favorite WWE diva of all time, Alicia Fox, going up against Sasha Banks, the woman who threw a Sharpie at me and blocked me on Twitter for saying that I was an Alexa Bliss fan. Sasha Banks, honestly, in my mind, possibly would have made out better if she would have moved to SmackDown as a part of the SmackDown versus Raw talent switch that went down a little bit ago. Instead, Charlotte jumped over, and even Charlotte hasn't got the best jump over there. But to me, honestly, Sasha has either been in the title picture, switching the title back and forth with Charlotte, or she's been stuck in this limbo of just WWE having nothing for her but wanting to use her and just being used on the kickoff. To me, honestly, when I think of the kickoff show, they either use The Miz or they use Sasha Banks. Each and every month, it seems like. Alicia Fox, my favorite diva of all time. Everybody's seen the video that I did with her and the Bellas, Dolph Ziggler, doing the WWE Bold Doritos thing. That was years ago. I can't even remember how many years ago that was. Possibly even 5 years from now. But Sasha's going to get the win here. I don't really see how this puts her in the title picture, going up against Alexa Bliss. I don't want to get too much into that because she's going up against Mickie James on this show. But honestly, I think that Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss right now is sort of like it's a match. But I mean, I don't think there's anybody who really thinks Mickie has a shot to win this match, and I apologize. It's just a hurdle to get them to the next show where hopefully Sasha can move into that title shot. Maybe they didn't want to use her at TLC. Maybe they have plans for the build-up to WrestleMania, or maybe even the build-up to WrestleMania. So I'm not sure. But someday Sasha is going to get her shot to go after Alexa Bliss's title, and I hope that it's going to be sooner than later. I didn't even notice it until now, but WWE TLC 2017 is going to have not one, not two, but three women's matches on this show. I talked in the last one about Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox, that I thought that Sasha Banks really has sort of got the bump ever since the Raw and SmackDown talent switch that went down a little while ago. Alexa Bliss came over from SmackDown with a whole lot of steam behind her. She really blew people away. That on NXT her level was about here, but when she got to the main roster, she jumped up to here. Now here we have Asuka making her WWE debut. Asuka's going to be one of those girls that's going to be taking a big spot that might even take away from Sasha Banks, where she might get stuck in that limbo of being down in there. Asuka came into NXT, and I honestly, I didn't think that it was a joke, but I didn't see why people were making a lot of a big deal about Asuka coming in. People said that she had, done some indies here, wrestling for Shimmer. She'd also, been a star over in Japan, where she sort of had this gimmick where she wore a clown's mask. And a lot of people were making even talk of, like, one of the reasons they wanted to bring her in was they wanted to sell the mask. I didn't believe in Asuka, but it honestly didn't take that long for her to be on the main roster to tell that this girl was coming in and she was going to be kicking some ass. Asuka ran the table on everybody. She did exactly what AJ Lee did to the main roster, and Nikki Bella as well, where basically they beat everybody one by one to the point where, what do you do now? Asuka was winning matches where it was, two girls against one. She was wrestling in matches where it was a fatal 4-way, but it was stacked to be 3 against 1. They were doing everything possible to find a way to make it believable that Asuka was going to lose. And then when it came down to it, the one girl that people thought had a chance to beat her was Ember Moon, and she couldn't get the job done. And Asuka moved to the main roster. She just dropped the NXT Championship. And now here she is having a match against Emma. This is a return match from Asuka's past. Possibly one of the main reasons that Emma was chosen to have this high-profile match, because you go back to, I believe, the NXT TakeOver London show. I think Emma wasn't even in the plans to have that match. I actually think that it was going to be Dana Brooke against Asuka. But then Dana Brooke had an injury. Emma had to step in. And they had a really high-stakes physical match that they went back and forth, and it was believable that Emma had a chance to win it. At this point right now, I think there's no chance that Emma is going to win this match. Asuka should take the victory, but it's Emma's job to go out there and make Asuka look great, and then we'll have to wait another day for give Emma a chance. I don't want to say that WWE is done with Emma, but I hope that they find something, even if it means she has to switch over to SmackDown, or even if she has to go back to NXT for a third shot. She had a lot of success there. She had a very, good character, and they used her very well. Monday Night Raw, a lot of people blame it on the Walmart iPad thing, but I don't think that's it. I just don't think they have a plan for where they want to use her. And the Emelina thing, or whatever it was, didn't really help either. A program that has main evented quite a few shows on WWE Monday Night Raw is Kalisto versus Enzo Amore. Enzo is going to be getting his return shot against Kalisto, which was a match that was just sort of planned out of the middle of nowhere. Kalisto beat Enzo on Monday Night Raw for the Cruiserweight Championship. This is honestly something that we've seen even when Neville was champion, where WWE, to sort of give 205 Live a sort of kick in the pants, did a title change. We had Tozawa beating Neville. This time we had Kalisto beating Enzo Amore. Even though I can honestly say that, a lot of people thought that Enzo was sent to 205 Live sort of as a punishment for how much heat that he had in the locker room. And then once that was really broken down, that even though 205 Live is shot, on the SmackDown tapings, the Cruiserweights are still featured on Monday Night Raw, that he would still be in the same locker room each and every week. Didn't really make a lot of sense. They probably thought that, Big Kaz would be, sort of elevated on the Monday Night Raw talent roster. And where would they let that leave Enzo? I don't think that Enzo was going to find a lot of luck being on the main roster when they have 205 Live there. We saw guys like Sin Cara, we saw guys like Kalisto just sort of fade away to nowhere, where WWE didn't really know how to use these guys, and we're just waiting for them to be able to jump over to this other show. Kalisto, he's a former United States champion, he's a former tag champion, he's a former NXT tag champion. He's done a lot in WWE. I think that he is going to find some good matchups and be in some good matchups on 205 Live in the Cruiserweight division. I think that honestly that WWE wants to capitalize on Enzo Amore. I would not be very surprised if Enzo wins this match, takes the Cruiserweight Championship back, and finds a way to be the main guy that this is built around. We still have no answer to what is going on with Neville. He wasn't on the show this week, and people aren't really talking about him, so they're either waiting up to find a way to release this guy, or they're just going to wait up and see when his contract expires. But on the TLC show, I'm picking Enzo to beat Kalisto. I don't think that's a big jump there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kalisto is still in the plans to battle against Enzo. Just Enzo gets the championship back. On Sunday, we have a new match added to the TLC pay-per-view. No longer will we be getting Sister Abigail wrestling against the Demon, Finn Balor. Now we will be getting a replacement. Bray Wyatt, it was reported last week, him, his brother, and his new girlfriend, I guess you can call her, have came down sick. They're going to be missing the pay-per-view. And honestly, I think WWE knocked it out of the park. They found the one best way to save this match, and as well as save the show, bringing AJ Styles over from SmackDown to wrestle against Finn Balor. This is possibly two of the best wrestlers in the world getting together and having a match, which I honestly think is going to be happening for the first time. I've never heard of this match happening on any other stage, whether if it was in New Japan. I don't think they were in New Japan at the same time or on any independent scene, seeing how AJ Styles was in TNA and Finn Balor was in New Japan at the time, before both coming to WWE. This is going to be a really, really good match. I know that they've mentioned New Japan along the way in documentaries and things, but I don't think they've ever really mentioned it on the show. But it'd be fun to see if they do bring that element to the table, is maybe bringing in the club to do something as well, seeing how they're not featured on the show at all. Even if they just make a cameo where they just came out on the stage to watch the match, or if they had some sort of backstage segment with these guys hyping him up and wishing him luck on what is going down. We've always heard rumors of the Balor Club becoming an actual real thing on television. AJ Styles did wrestle with Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson in WWE as the club. So see if maybe these guys are pairing up again. When the brand split happened and AJ was sent from Raw to SmackDown, basically Carl Anderson said that there was not going to be anything that was able to break up the club, that there really were no rules, that if AJ ever needed him, they would show up and answer the call. That has not happened yet in the 2 years since the draft, but maybe this is actually one time that they could pull a rabbit out of their hat. I think this really saves Finn Balor, since coming back from his injury. It's been rumored that he was going to have a match at Survivor Series against Brock Lesnar. That's now going to be a match that's going to be happening against Jinder Mahal. So maybe they're going to do it at a later show that happens. I've heard the Clash of the Champions is going to be happening in December, or maybe even at the Royal Rumble. But, he's a guy that really deserves to be in that main event slot. And this Bray Wyatt thing really quieted him down. If they can just push him out of that angle and into anything else fresh, I think that would be something that would go off really, really well. this is a hard one to pick. I mean, this is the flip of the coin. I haven't seen them use somebody from the other brand to come over since I think that Taboo Tuesday or maybe Cyber Sunday deal where Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to have the match against the coach. And then once he found out that he was losing against the coach, suddenly he came down with an injury and had to be replaced by Batista. So this is a fun time in WWE. We'll see what happens on Sunday. This honestly makes no sense to me. This is like Happy Halloween, trick-or-treat time. The Demon against Sister Abigail. I told everyone that this made no sense to me last month when we were talking about the WWE's Monday Night Raw pay-per-view. Bray Wyatt going up against Finn Balor. Finn Balor was not able to use the Demon because Bray Wyatt wanted to be able to show that the only reason that Finn Balor was able to beat him was because he used the power of the Demon. Finn Balor, got jumped on by Bray Wyatt early on in the match, but found a way to come back and beat him, and able to show that he is just as powerful as the Demon. WWE, to me, honestly, is not using the Demon on the main roster to its full extent, I do believe. I've always thought that, going back to NXT, when they did the NXT story, the mini documentary about Finn Balor before Beast in the East, they really portrayed Finn Balor as, I don't want to say a geek, but just sort of like a normal guy. And he goes out and he's a really good wrestler and he has these really good matches, but he has to flip that switch for really big matches, for the Demon to take over and, for him to be the best wrestler in the world. I don't really understand. WWE and Finn Balor brought the Demon out for the SummerSlam match against Seth Rollins because that was a big one. And then with his injury, he had to sit out for a while. They didn't bring the Demon back right away. They used it in the Bray Wyatt match because Bray sort of sucked the Demon out of Finn Balor. In NXT, he always would bring it out for the NXT TakeOver specials, and I know they've sort of added some more to them, and it's like those were like 4 times a year. So it would make sense if we saw Finn Balor bring the Demon out for, I guess you can say the blow-off feuds. Like WWE loves to do feuds in matches of 3. So you save those for, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. If you wanted to have the blow-off match at a different pay-per-view along the way, that would make sense, but it is what it is. But this whole Demon versus Sister Abigail thing where Bray Wyatt is now being portrayed in drag, this is crap. And I mean, Finn Balor is my favorite wrestler. Finn Balor is the reason why I still watch wrestling today. And I do not want to see this match. I cringe at just thinking of this match, of Finn Balor being used like this. I'm not going to say that, the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor Ramon were my 2 favorite wrestlers. But on an early In Your House back in the day, they had a crybaby match where after the match was done, the 1-2-3 Kid was forced to wear a diaper and hold a bottle. And I know this is easy heat, and I'm sure that you look back on it, the 1-2-3 Kid really didn't care about it. He just cashed his check from the pay-per-view, moved on to the next town and called it a day. But even when I watched that match today, it sucks. I mean, to make one of your guys go through that, having to put the diaper on, even in the 90s, the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor Ramon were sort of in the down days. They were building it up, but it wasn't the Austin days yet. I mean, you just see that he hates every minute of it, and that's what he's supposed to. But even as a kid, I didn't fall for it. I just said, man, that guy's hating it right now, and it is what it is. It didn't make me want to, boo the 1-2-3 Kid anymore. It didn't want me to cheer Razor. It just seemed like this sucks. It's not good. Bray Wyatt, to me, he has a place in WWE. This guy is a former champion. I don't know how you make it where this guy works, but I say this all the time. He stalls out every wrestler that he touches. If you go back after the old Seth Rollins against Dean Ambrose feud, Dean Ambrose was supposed to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin of wrestling. That dude was over. You put him in a few months of a feud against Bray Wyatt, and he had nothing going into the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania that year after that feud. Throughout Halloween street fights, the Tribute for the Troops match, the TLC match, it main evented that show, and nobody cared about it. Bad match. Nobody even thinks about it. I'm sure people don't even bring it up and watch it on the network. But I mean, Brock Lesnar's match at WrestleMania 32. Why am I talking about that? I'm not talking about Dean. I'm talking about Bray Wyatt. But just bad matches that nobody cares about, and they just get forgotten about in the history of time. Get this feud over. People are saying that Finn is going to be, main eventing the Survivor Series show, wrestling against Brock Lesnar. Now there's plans that maybe they're going to be doing Brock Lesnar against Jinder Mahal. Just let me see when Finn gets his title shot. He's probably not going to win, because I don't think that Brock is going to drop the championship until WrestleMania against Roman. But give me a shot for something good. Let's just get this over with and done with, and never bring back Sister Abigail. I remember we've been talking about this for years. We were even talking about last month that maybe Sister Abigail was going to be Paige, where they're making a return to the main roster. Anything other than Sister Abigail showing up as Bray Wyatt in drag. Bad stuff. Alright, here we go. Raw Women's Championship shot. Alexa Bliss going up against Mickie James. This is the, I guess you can say, borderline second biggest match on the show behind the Shield, which is going to be a big deal. Alexa Bliss really has been kicking some ass on Monday Night Raw. I honestly thought that when she came up from NXT and she was on SmackDown, that she really exceeded what people thought she was going to be in WWE. But then when she jumped from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw, I think that honestly she's jumped up the ranks even more. Alexa Bliss possibly could be one of the best women's wrestlers there is in WWE's history. I think when it's all said and done, her first year in WWE, honestly, has blown the doors off many, rookie girls on the main roster that I can think of in a long time. On this show, I think that honestly, Mickie James stepping up and winning the shot to go after the championship surprised a lot of people. What Mickie is trying to do is she's trying to go out and win. I'm not sure if this is going to be her 10th Women's Championship or her 11th Women's Championship, maybe even her 9th, 10th, or 11th, somewhere in there. But she's going to tie Trish Stratus as one of the, most winningest champions of all time on the women's side in WWE. Mickie James, what she's done in her career, she chased after Trish Stratus when she first came up there. That's probably one of the biggest women's storylines that they've ever done in WWE, with the whole Mickie being a big fan of Trish, and then Mickie falling in love with Trish, and then Mickie and Trish kissing, and them having the whole breakup at WrestleMania where Mickie got to beat Trish. And then I think even when Trish wrestled her last match as being a part of the main roster, she's came back a few times. She came back at a few times at matches on Raw, teaming with Cena. She came back teaming with Snooki at WrestleMania. But when she left the main roster, she sort of gave the rub to Mickie James that Mickie was taking over and she was going to be the best women's wrestler on the roster. I think that it would be a tip of the hat if Mickie was to win, even if it was just a one night or maybe even a 1 month title reign to get to the next pay-per-view. But I don't think that Alexa is going to be losing this championship. I think they're trying to set up something. And just like when they did the NXT TakeOver Toronto, where Mickie James got the shot against Asuka, I think they're just trying to buy some time. Mickie is a legend that gets a title shot. They really haven't used her to her potential on the main roster since bringing her back. But I think that's good to have this match. Alexa should be getting the win, and we should just be moving on. And hopefully Sasha, maybe even Asuka, is going to be next to be getting the title shot against Bliss. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you live from the GoHastings.com Wrestle Center, where I used to make my videos back in the day. Today, I was honestly enjoying lunch at Applebee's, getting a little 2 for $20 on, enjoying my Hickory Barbecue Bacon Burger. is what I think it was. And I got a text from my good buddy Mike, HBK fan 25, We the Pinko, just telling me all of these changes happening to the TLC card. These are honestly things that I was really shocked by these. I had heard basically that there was not diverticulitis or whatever it was, but there's some huge sort of sickness being spread through the Monday Night Raw team. We had seen people like Bo Dallas, JoJo, and Bray Wyatt all disappear from television over the last week. But I didn't think that this was affecting Roman Reigns at all. I made videos earlier this week doing the full show preview gimmick, talking about how TLC 2017, besides the main event, honestly was a card that didn't really mean a lot. And I can honestly tell you right now that after finding out that Roman Reigns isn't going to appear on the card, that Kurt Angle is returning to WWE, and this is going to be his first match in 11 years. I think that they're sticking Kurt Angle on there as a Band-Aid for the pay-per-view, and it is probably the one thing that makes the most sense. But at the same time, it is something that makes no sense at all either. I understand them putting Angle in there. It is his first match in WWE in 11 years, since basically being released, fired, quitting, back in the day in 2006, when he was a part of the ECW brand, and then showing up in wrestling for TNA, and after a Hall of Fame TNA career, finally coming back home to WWE. I had heard the rumors that Angle plans to wrestle, but I honestly didn't believe that it was going to happen. I thought that was sort of like a dream, sort of like us thinking about Daniel Bryan having a return match and being able to wrestle again. It just seemed like something that WWE wouldn't want to take a chance on with all of the future legal problems that are in the air coming for them, much like is with the veterans of the NFL suing them, and them currently being sued by a lot of former wrestlers over CTE and things like that, just trying to get an easy payday to end their career. Angle is one hell of a dude. When he went into the Hall of Fame, I thought that it was a very fun Hall of Fame. It was very fitting for him to be able to end his career and have that sort of, end of the career thing in WWE, being a return guy. But I honestly didn't think that he would ever wrestle again. I'm very, very surprised that they would let him do that. I think it's going to be fun. I really do think it's going to be fun. But Angle returning on Sunday, we'll have to see, how physical that he does. I know that he was wrestling before he came back to WWE. I'm not sure how much he's been training. There was a rumor that he would wrestle Triple H at WrestleMania, but I'm not sure how ready he is to get into the ring now. I mean, him letting Braun Strowman as well as Kane, making this a 5-on-3 match, and then him adding himself. I don't think they're going to do a heel turn, but it makes him look really dumb right now. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. Angle wrestling in his first match in a long time, and I guess I'm excited to see it. WWE now has a new main event for TLC 2017. We're going to have to see what this one means. We had basically added people to Team Miz 2 weeks in a row. At first it was, the Shield reuniting, and they would be going up against the Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. At one point it was rumored that we were going to see the Miz, Curtis Axel, and Bo Dallas, and so many people crapped all over that. By the next Monday, the Miz had recruited in the Bar to replace them. Now, over the last 2 weeks, we've added Braun Strowman. Now we've added Kane. And the Kane thing really came out of left field. That really didn't make any sense at all. But now, here on the last hour before the pay-per-view, basically, Kurt Angle is going to be replacing Roman Reigns. Through a spread of sickness through the Raw locker room, Roman is now not going to be able to wrestle on Sunday's show. I honestly would hope Roman can make some sort of a cameo, pulling the whole, Willis Reed, coming out of the locker room at the last minute to help his fallen brothers, maybe do one spear or something like that, because at this point, Kurt Angle is the GM of Raw. He really has no alignment to, Dean Ambrose as well as, Seth Rollins, besides where he is the babyface GM, and maybe he thinks that he's the one guy that could save this. I don't know honestly how they're going to storyline wise tie him into this match, because now it can't really be billed as the reunion of the Shield, which is the only reason why this match really happened. And Kurt Angle is the guy that basically added Kane and Strowman to the group, unless this is the all-around full circle reveal that Kurt Angle is a heel, or which is a long hop, skip, and a jump in order to make this happen. Kurt Angle hasn't wrestled in WWE in 11 years. I never really honestly thought that he would return, even though there was rumors of him having matches against Rusev. There was rumors of him having matches against Triple H. We've heard tons of Angle rumors over the last year to a few years ago. Now here he is actually going to be making his return, and I don't even really know what it means. I don't know how. I know he wrestled indie matches until the last day basically before he jumped and came back and signed with WWE. Now here he is going to wrestle his first match in WWE, and we don't really know how well he's going to hold up. There's going to be questions about his cardio and his physical stature. I know that the long-term plan that he was always hoping for was him to get back in the ring. But you got to wonder if those were even plans that were actually going to happen. At the pay-per-view, I still pick, Angle and Ambrose and Rollins to win this match. I just don't know how physical Angle is going to be, and hoping that, Roman possibly can do something at the show. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you with the main event from WWE TLC 2017. This is going to be the TLC match, where we are going to be seeing the Shield going up against Braun Strowman, The Miz, Cesaro, Sheamus, and Kane. I guess this is the first year that WWE isn't going to be using the full all-on gimmicks of the tables match, a ladder match, a chairs match, and then also having a TLC match. They're just doing just TLC, and that's it. Maybe somewhere along the way, maybe they break the gimmicks out, because they lay them all out for the stage and the entrance for the show. But to me, honestly, I've tried to make the most sense out of this match. To me, honestly, I thought the Shield versus the Bar and the Miz was a really good match that raised us from the expectations when it was first heard that the Shield would be making a return at the show, taking on the Miz Taraj, dumping Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel, bringing up Cesaro and Sheamus. Really made this a believable match. Nobody thought that the Shield was going to lose, but this was just going to be a good match that people would be able to enjoy. Definitely is the exclamation points on this show. Later on Raw, after the Shield returned, The Miz was able to get Braun Strowman to return and be a part of this match, making it a 4-on-3. When Braun Strowman beat Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw, the Miz was able to add a new partner to the team, now making it a 5-on-3, adding Kane. I've tried my best to make the most sense out of this match possible. To me, honestly, when it was 3-on-3, it was very believable. When they added Braun Strowman, it was like, alright. But now with Kane makes no sense at all. The only lines that I could draw to try and connect this together is that Kane doesn't like Seth Rollins. Braun Strowman doesn't like Roman Reigns. Dean Ambrose has fought The Miz 1,000 times. I'm sure that Dean Ambrose has had matches when he was in the mid-card Intercontinental title reign, going up against Sheamus and Cesaro as well. As a group, I don't understand any of this. I still believe that this is going to be an easy 1-2-3, that the Shield gets the victory here. They're going to have to do their gimmick, where they're basically going to have to divide and conquer. I wouldn't be surprised if this match has, where basically it's not held in the ring, where it's just basically broken up, people fighting backstage. You have to find a way to get people out of there. If it's a 5-on-3 advantage, even though it's TLC, the belts aren't on the line, so it's not like you're climbing up to grab anything. There has to be a pinfall. There has to be a submission. You have to have a triple powerbomb for the win. It's the only way possible. Unless they brought back Kane because they didn't want anybody else to lose. And you have, basically all three of them hit their finishers on it at once. But I think that honestly, when it comes to the Shield, the triple powerbomb outranks everything, unless it's just them throwing somebody through an announce table, just trying to get rid of them. I've wrapped my head around this. It doesn't make any sense. Kane hasn't done anything in WWE in forever that I can think of. But take the Shield. It's a far off bet because it's 5-on-3. But I want to know what they do with these guys. That's the only thing I think of. I want to take it step by step. I think the TLC is going to be awesome. I wish there was a way I could just watch this one match because I don't think there's anything else that's going to be worth a damn on the rest of the show. But, man, 5-on-3, Shield versus all these dudes. They should have just made it a freaking Survivor Series match. I got no clue. Maybe that's where they're going. Maybe they'll add the Hardys and, not the Hardys, but maybe they'll have Matt Hardy and Jordan to this team because of the connection with Strowman and Hardy from Monday Night Raw. Maybe that'll be Survivor Series. Maybe they just took a step ahead to bring these guys back. But I got no clue. Take the Shield. Take the easy money. See you guys down the road. Sunday, we'll be talking about this again.